Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. We are going to be trying out a few new products that are purple. Why did I come up with this idea? I have no clue. But I've recently gotten a few PR packages and I thought I would put some things to the test. So first up, we're going to be testing out Peppy Co. So this is their cleansing egg, which I'm very excited. You guys know I love skincare devices. So I'm hoping that this is going to be my new favorite. And we also have the Peppy Co. Day and Night Cleanser, which once again, I can never have enough. As far as the ingredients list is amazing. There is not a hint of a fragrance whatsoever, which you guys know if you've been with me for a while, I prefer. And it says this is a light foaming face gel wash that gently removes all traces of dirt and makeup to leave skin thoroughly cleansed and refreshed without irritation or discomfort. It's formulated to gently exfoliate to purify the skin, but it is just a gel cleanser, so it's perfect for a cleansing device, enriched with soothing botanicals to restore and nourish the skin. And the cleansing egg is made of silicone bristles, so they're antibacterial and they help to cleanse without irritating the skin, which is really nice. They have a limited edition black, but I really like this purple color. It's super cute. We got our background going. So of course, cleansing with something like this is going to be more effective than cleansing with your fingers. This is going to help get into the pores, kind of get everything out. So we're going to try it out. I've got my handy dandy Evian water. You guys know I love it. Also, I'm kind of hot. Ooh. So I have taken a nap. I've made a nice coffee. I'm just going to put some cleanser right onto my little egg. It's a kind of a thinner gel formula. Let's turn it on. I like that this is like foaming up just a little bit, just like getting a little frothy. And this is natural ingredients, no harmful chemicals, eco-friendly, vegan-friendly, cruelty-free of course. And I'm just gonna highlight some of these ingredients. Aloe leaf juice is the first ingredient. And then you have water and glycerin, witch hazel, calendula. We've got the cacao plum. There's a lot of good ingredients in here. It's got a little salicylic acid near the bottom of the list. A little BHA. This feels really nice. And I actually like the shape of it, because you can definitely hold it like this, or you can just kind of grip it. Feels really nice. The backside has a little bit bigger bristles, so I'm gonna put a teensy bit of cleanser on there and see how it does around my pores. I have very easily clogged pores. I know that with like beauty lights and stuff, it probably doesn't often look like I have bad pores or things like that, but I do, like very easily clogged. And if I'm not like keeping up with it, doing my mask, doing my deep cleanse, double cleanse, using treatments, it will easily, like I'll have blackheads all across my nose. My skin is just kind of prone to it. I also didn't show you guys, but it has a little base. So you connect your charging cable to this. Charging cable is included along with the base and the egg. Alright, so it turned off. We are ready to rinse. Alright, so my skin is feeling really nice and my pores look pretty snatched. I can always tell if, you know, a cleanser is really clearing out my pores, because again, my pores get so easily clogged. I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but like my nose, my pores are so much clearer than they were before I did the cleanse, even just like one time. I'm really kind of shocked. So I'm really excited to keep using this, and the cleanser feels really nice. Like my skin feels smooth and fresh, but not uncomfortable in any way. I'm really happy with that. So thank you to Peppy Co. They did send me these, but this video is not sponsored, you guys know. I'm gonna be honest with you either way, but it's not sponsored. They just sent it to me to try out. So I'm really excited for that. I do also have one more skincare product. I just got this a couple days ago. This is the Ole Henriksen Wrinkle Blur Bakuchiol Eye Gel Cream. It has peptides and proteins, and this is really pretty because it's got these little ribbons in here. So that ingredient, Bakuchiol, is a retinol alternative for helping fine lines, wrinkles, crow's feet around the eye area, and we're gonna test it. Okay, that feels really nice. You can see where I went to the store and wore a mask. It was like a new mask and it was scratchy. I do love my Ole Henriksen skincare. This feels, it's like a gel, but there's a little creaminess to it. And I love that it has peptides in it, and it also has that anti-aging benefit. I like it so far. Obviously, won't be able to tell for a while, but I like the consistency. It feels nice. All right, so we are going to be trying out a purple eyeshadow palette, and I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth with the eye look. So I'm basically going to skip so many steps and do a lot of stuff off camera so that we can come back and spend a little bit more time. I've got the Menagerie Flight Club palette. This will be my first time using it. It's so cute. Lots of purples. I know I have a lot of purple lovers, and I also don't wear purples that often, so I'm very excited to share with you. And I have been on a kick of wearing like nothing but green eyeshadows, like some form of green. So I'm going to do some purple eyeshadow and we'll go a little bit more in depth, especially for those of you who really love the palette a day weekly video. I am going to incorporate more eyeshadow looks and just go a little bit more in depth so that if you want to recreate one of them, you can, because you'll be able to see a little bit more of what I'm doing. So I'm going to do some stuff off camera and we'll be right back. Alright, as you can see, a lot of my makeup is done. I did use a blush from the Arthurine palette. I did get this recently from Menagerie Cosmetics as well. And I used the shade Sugarberry, which is super cute. It's kind of a pinky purple, so it's still really wearable. So once again, the Flight Club palette from Menagerie. There's so many like different variations of purple that you could use. I'm seeing a couple that like I definitely want to dive into. So I'm just going to focus on doing one eye with you guys. I always use P. Louise base 0.5 unless I'm using like a colorful one. So you're really meant to kind of pack this base in. I find that I like to pack it and then just lightly tap it in with my sponge. It can be a little scary if you already use powders, but this, you can just kind of tap the edges and it will smooth in. It doesn't leave a bad like harsh line or anything. So I like to take my base personally right up against my brow. These bases just work so beautifully. And this is not going to set hard and fast. It's not going to dry down completely matte, but it will dry down a little bit. It won't be quite as tacky. So you can see it's kind of like a little bit harsh there. So I'm just going to take the base of my sponge, no extra product, and just press a little bit. And if I feel like I've taken too much product off, you can always tap a little bit more. This is actually a P. Louise base brush. So I'm going to show you one of my like favorite ways to do eyes. It's not overly complicated, but with just about any color story, you can really create a beautiful look. So I did kind of pull my base a little bit farther out. I like my eyeshadow to come a little bit more elongated typically. Not every time, sometimes I go for different shapes, but I'm going to show you my tried and true, like I love my eyeshadow this way. I think I'm going to take the shade A Little Baddie. So this one, kind of like the blush, has a little pinkish purple hue to it. So I'm going to take that on a shader brush is my preference because I'm going to kind of pack and blend. So we're taking A Little Baddie. I picked up a good amount of product, and this one, this is a Glammier brush, but it's just a good shader brush is all you have to use. I'm not particularly like crazy about this one versus others. So I've been liking to take my color really close up towards the brow, towards my inner corner. So I'm going to pack that. And what I'm first going to do is just do that. I've basically started the inner corner and I'm not going all the way across. I'm doing about 1/3 of the way across my lid. So I've got it nice and packed. This is very pigmented. So what I'm going to do is grab a different brush. I'm going to grab this Firma 201. Again, it's kind of like a blending brush, but it's a little bit flat. So I'm just going to start to blend those edges. So I know a lot of like Instagram videos and things will show ways of doing eyeshadow that seem very complicated. I don't think this is going to be complicated. I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible. So you don't want to blend it out too far because it will set down your base. Like once the matte shadow gets on there, it will kind of set the base. So I've started blending it a little bit, but I don't want to take it too far because I want those colors to meld together. So I am blending it towards the front a lot. You can pick up a little extra product if you need it. And I'm going to buff that in this circular motion and then create this little shape. You don't have to go this far in towards your inner corner if you don't want to, but I've just been liking this lately. And sometimes I'll take it right up into the brow. My next shade is going to be a deeper shade, but what I'm going to do is 3 shades ending with a deep shade that I'm going to use in the corner. So I'm kind of looking, I want to use a deeper matte. So I'm thinking that Flighty might be my deeper shade. So I might go into Sky Puppy. I feel like the shades are going to blend nicely together. There's not going to be a dramatic difference between one shade to the next, but it's just going to flow. So I'm going to take a little blending brush and I'm going to take Sky Puppy. And the first thing I'm going to do is just pack. And as you can see, super, super pigmented. And you can tell too, I'm not going to take it so close to the brow because we are going to blend it out a little bit. So once I have that about like that, maybe a little bit further out, then I'm going to use the same brush and just start to blur the edges. So now I'm going to take the shade Flighty. Now with this, I want to brush a little bit firmer because I want to be really precise about my placement. So I'm going to use this Sigma E44. It's a firm blender, but it's pretty compact and it's very round. So I'm going to take a little bit of Flighty, knowing how pigmented these are. I'm not going to pick up too much. And I'm going to start where you physically feel your crease, where there's like that little dip. And I'm just going to pack. I want to get that color concentrated in the deepest part of my crease and corner before I start blending it out. And as you can see, once again, it's not a giant variation in color. You could definitely go more varied if you wanted to. You could do green, blue, purple. You could do, you know, varying shades of nudes, however you want to do this. It doesn't have to be purples. And then once I have that, I'm going to start to build out just a little bit. So I'm starting with a very rounded shape, but eventually I'm going to pull this color out a little bit more, but you don't have to do that right away. You don't have to feel rushed into that. Some people will just go ahead and just pack out into like a little stretched out V. You don't have to do that right away though, because you can build on it and then find the perfect amount for you. So I'm going to go ahead with that same brush and I'm going to go about almost halfway over the lid. So as you can see, the distance between the shadow and the brow is getting a little bit further apart as we go, but I'm not done. So I'm gonna go back to this e.l.f. brush. It's got a really nice movement to this brush. I like the bristles. I mean, it's super cheap. It's good too. So I'm gonna take Sky Puppy, the smallest amount, that's the second shade that we used, and lightly buff the edges and start to pull out a little bit. Again, you can do any shape that you like, but for me, I like my eyes to look a little bit more open. So the more that you pull this shade out, the more it'll open up your eye. I'm not going to totally close in this inner corner because I don't want my eyes to appear smaller. So even though I've taken it further in, I'm not going to close the inner corner with too much color. I'm going to leave that a little bit light. So I'm working Sky Puppy into just a little stretch of color. And what I mean by that is I'm just pulling a little bit. I'm not adding a ton of color. You can actually just take a clean brush and just work the shadow a little bit by sweeping and swirling. But I just added a tiny bit because I knew I wanted to stretch it out more. And at this point, if you're liking what it's looking like and you don't want to add any more color, you can just grab a blending brush. I'm going to grab a pretty big one. This is the Suva 460. It's a really nice big blending brush because what I want to do is just blur edges. So I'm going to start in the inner and then work my way out. Even taking the brush past where the shadow ends, stretching it out, and hopefully blurring everything. So with this shape, I feel like I want to go a little bit further up right here. So I'm going to take a teensy bit of Sky Puppy, work it up, and when in doubt, if it ever looks a little patchy or uneven, sometimes it's just the placement and we just need to blend a little bit more. So don't get discouraged if you're like, it doesn't look as smooth as the eyeshadow I see. Also remember that Instagram is not real life, and a lot of times eyeshadow has been blurred and photos has been smoothed, and you have amazing artists too. So there's a great positive and a negative there, because sometimes the skill level is just so high that I can't even match it, and it's not really my thing. It's not what I'm trying to do, but sometimes you just have over edited photos too. So don't feel discouraged if you're like, okay, I can't do eyeshadow like that. You probably can. It just takes some patience and some practice, and even then most of it's not real life. So once we have it like this, I definitely want to cut my crease and I want to use a shimmer. I am going to do a couple swatches because I want to see what these look like. So this one is called Fruity Feast. Ooh, also Nocturnal looks really nice. Ah, oh my god, Look at those. These are pretty. I cannot decide which one I like better, but I feel like this one has a blue shift, would kind of pop a little bit more. Let's swatch Hanging Out, which I think is more, yeah, that's like royal purple. That's just purple purple. And then we've got Mega Bat, which they kind of look like they would be similar, but that one's got a shift to it. It has just a hint of a blue shift. So look at those shades, man. And then we only have one more shimmer. It's called After Dark. It looks so pretty. Oh, and that one kind of has like a wine to purple shift. It's also really, really pretty. So I think I want to go brighter. I can't decide which one of these I want to use though. I think I want to go for Nocturnal. I feel like it will stand out a little bit more. All right, some of you are going to be new to cutting the crease, but some of you are going to be like, I do this all the time. I don't need the help. But I love doing a half cut crease. It makes everything look really crisp without a ton of work. And also, I just feel like for my particular eye shape, when I do the looks where you cut the crease and you go all the way across, it just, I never feel like it looks that great on me, and maybe it's just because I don't do it often enough. We're gonna do a half cut crease because it's my favorite. I usually will just pat this and then I'll do the little lid lift. So you're getting the base to go all the way up to where your eyelid creases, and I like to go just above that. Because if you have hooded eyelids or like mine just a little bit, sometimes your shimmers are going to be placed too low and you can't see them when your eyes are open. So if you look at me right now, where I have my base, it's starting to show. So I'm just going to build it up just a teensy bit more. Like you can see it, but I want you to be able to really see it. So we're going to pack some more on there. The first thing I'm going to do is define the inner corner in the shape that I like. I like it to kind of taper down like this and then follow that shape. I'm not doing the cut crease in a straight line. I like to go a little bit further out towards the top and then a little bit further in at the bottom towards the lash line. You don't have to do it this way, it's just my preference. I like to tap the edges out here and soften that, because you're going to be adding basically back in your darkest eyeshadow. So we're going to go on the lid with the finger. So I'm going to take the shade Nocturnal. I think that's the one I want to go with. So I'm going to press that with my finger. Personally, I like to take a brush to define the edges. If I do it all by finger, it's going to overlap and be a little bit messier. So I'm going to pick up some of the shadow. I'm picking this up on a precision concealer brush. This is an old Sephora brush. And I'm just getting it to the edges. I'm going to go back into that shade Flighty, which was the darkest purple that we used, and just pack over the edges. All right, I think I'm going to take Sky Puppy. I often do this where I take the middle shade that I used and use it on the lower lash line because sometimes it just gets faded in. And in this case, it really looks like so similar in color. I see a little transition, you know, but I think I'm going to take Sky Puppy, and I'm taking this little Eddie Funkhauser. This is a domed blending brush, but it kind of comes to a point. And then I'm going to add a little bit of Flighty, the darker shade, and just tuck that right in the corner. And so don't be afraid to add shadow on the bottom, because it looks funky when you have all the shadow up top and then nothing underneath. It can look very odd and very weird. And for a long time, I was like, for years, I think adding, you know, not enough shadow on the bottom. Like I was like, oh, I'm adding a pop of color, but it's like this little line. So don't be afraid to, you know, go for it and really blend. And a lot of times I'll take the lighter shade. So I'm going to take a little baddie, just a teensy bit, and blend the edges. And once you get your mascara on too, it's going to hide a little bit of that once it's all put together. So you want it to look a little bold at first. The palette doesn't have an incredibly light shade for the inner corner, so I'm just going to take some highlight and just go right here. And that's keeping our inner eye a little bit more open, not closing it off too much. All right, here's my finished purple look. I added lashes, and I also went ahead and applied the Menagerie Velvet Liquid Lip. This is the shade Maribel. So this is a very matte liquid lipstick. It is really comfortable as liquid lipsticks go. I am not the biggest fan of liquid lips, at least not full on dry down liquid lips, but if you're wearing a mask or you really need something to stay in place, this is a great formula. So I do like the purple. Like it's very purple, but I do like it. I am really stoked with everything I've tried. I'm really grateful that I got some stuff in PR that I could share with you. Like this palette, oh, so good, and my skin feels amazing. Like I know all I did was change like my cleansing, but this little duo I would definitely recommend if you're in the market for cleansing device or cleanser. They also have an LED like a light therapy mask that you put on, and that I need. I really do like the way everything came out. I'm really happy with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think about this eye, if it's one that you would recreate. And again, you can do this with so many colors. It doesn't have to be purple, whatever your fancy is, if you want to do something very neutral. But I like the way this turned out, and if you want to simplify it too, you can just use, you know, 2 shades, 2 mattes, or even just 1 matte all the way across. Do an entire eye of matte, do the lower lash line, do the entire thing, and then put some shimmer on the lid. You don't even have to cut the crease. You can just do glitter glue and stick your shimmer on, and it's still going to look beautiful. It's just not going to be as crisp a line, but it just depends on what you like. Thank you guys so much for hanging with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys have an amazing night, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.